I'm Grady.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Charisse.
And welcome to Highlights, your one-stop shop for all of your All-Star 7 information. Before we get into the stats, where everybody stands with all of their legendary legend stars, we're going to break down how we got there. So let's get into it. Previously on Drag Race. Last week's episode was Dance Like a Drag Queen, where the queens had to come up with a trendy, viral social media dance TikTok style. First, as we begin the episode, RuPaul is on a couple things: sequin jackets and good medications. And I was actually kind of living for it. I kind of want this outfit. It looked a little weird on Ru, especially without his glasses. I don't know if he was seeing everybody, but does he ever?
I half expected him to fall down the stairs.
Maybe that's why he was so excited.
Perhaps.
He's like,
I know,
"Oh,
I'm
good."
always way more excited to see people when I don't have my glasses on. I'm like, oh, it was you.
Who are you?
We wasted the good surprise.
He's like, season 15's here. Good. How is everybody feeling about the dances? So the queens are a little mixed. Raja's a little nervous about coming up with a viral dance. And it's not really an easy thing to do. It's kind of an awkward thing to do if you think about it. Although Jinx seemed really in her element in the workroom. But it was weird watching everybody try and conceptualize everything that goes into a viral TikTok dance.
All of their creative processes are so different. So it was
Very.
really interesting watching them try to conceptualize and come up with their different ideas. I was actually kind of concerned for Jinx because she was the only one who didn't seem to have a dance. She was just shoving peanut butter sandwiches in her mouth. So I was like, girl, what are you doing? Like, I hope this is out there enough that it works, and not out there not enough that they're like, what the hell did you do? But, normally that tends to work for the judges, so.
Why did she
Absolutely.
need to do it?
The peanut butter sandwich?
Yeah, in the workroom.
She was practicing.
Maybe it was method acting. Maybe she was really getting into this role.
So what she said in the workroom when Raja was wearing the same face that all of us were wearing during this episode.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, Jinx was trying to time it out to see what it would look like and maybe what it would sound like. And I understand that, like, as a performer perspective, it's always good to practice with your props. It's always good to have a general idea of if your working idea is actually going to work in reality or if it just works in your brain.
I feel like maybe it all came to her as she was doing, like, she started at peanut butter sandwich and the rest came after.
Yeah.
Well, what I realized watching the episode over again was that Ru specifically told them that they had to use one of her songs, obviously, which is smart. So maybe
Yeah.
Jinx started with the song first because Jinx isn't really
Probably.
a dancer. So she probably thought, oh, I wonder if I could do something out of the box with peanut butter and use Ru's song, Peanut Butter.
Right, probably.
But conceptually, it was way less succinct than Trinity's tuck, hair flip. I don't remember the third one, but like Trinity seemed to have a full, like, conceptual concept, like, oh, this is my brand, just fully when they were still on
Yeah.
the couches.
Yeah.
So much so that she had enough time to make Monet a brand new dress for the challenge.
For her skit.
mind you. That, like, when we were talking last week about Trinity being a powerhouse, like, I, again, severely underestimated this entertainer. Oh my goodness.
At this point, she's everyone's favorite employee. And I think the
Right.
other queens need to stop saying, revealing that she made their dresses.
Well, what they need to do is stop relying on that body and stop relying on Trinity's body to produce all of these things for them.
Trinity deserves her own franchise somewhere.
She does.
I don't know what they would
She-
give her.
And
I know.
fashion line.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
For sure. But the edit on the taping of all of the dance challenges made me scared for everyone, not just who I was scared for in the workroom.
But it was so entertaining to watch.
It was a hot mess.
It was actually more fun than watching the actual video.
Yeah, I want to just watch that on a loop. Let's go to the main stage. So, Rue's look this week. I thought it was okay.
So I really liked it at first, and then you guys reminded me that she's done variations of this look multiple times before, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right, she has. So it was less impressive to me.
Yeah, and it's not my favorite Rue wig, I will say.
I liked the dress. I liked all the sparkly, spangly things, and Rue looked good. But yeah, it wasn't my fave. The rest of the judges looked flawless. Ben Platt, oh my goodness.
The worst person on earth.
Tell us how you
what
really
a good
feel.
look. No, for real.
Yeah, he was there. I really don't know why I hate him so much, but there's just something about looking at him that just sets my brain on fire.
Fair enough.
One.
Can't stand the sound of him breathing.
Yeah. Anyway, before he sues me for defamation, let's get into the dances. That's fun. Oh no, I stand corrected. We did the runway first. Let's do the runway. So runway this week was What Lies Beneath, and it's all about reveals this week on the runway. First up, Shea Coulee, who looked beautiful. Wasn't my favorite of the night, but a great set of reveals. Looked fantastic. I thought her makeup looked stunning. Shea always knows how to knock it out of the park.
She does. The first bit she had with the blue feathery overcoat, that was my favorite part of her look.
I liked the look. Shea looks beautiful every single week, obviously. I liked that all the reveals had to do with that they all had to do with one another, but it wasn't my favorite of the week. I liked it. It was beautiful. Shea looked beautiful. It wasn't my favorite of the week. The reveals went well. She did really well. Like I said, no one is doing poorly this season. What separates these queens is the smallest margin.
Yeah. Next was Jada Essence Hall. By far my favorite of the night.
Easily the best.
Yeah. Did a seasonal theme, did all seasons, all floor length gowns. You couldn't tell the reveals were coming, which I loved.
Yes.
And just when you thought it was over, it was not. It was just so great.
So simple but smart to do seasonal looks, because you can really vary every look so differently from the one before it and have a completely different conceptualized look. And the fact that they were all full length gowns was like choice. It made it so cool.
I loved this runway as a whole so much. I wasn't sure what to expect, but after we got all the way through, I could not wait to watch this runway over again. Jada's was one of my favorites. I loved the way that her idea just took us through the seasons. Grady, like you said, you didn't know what was coming next. The way that she spun around during each of the reveals, you didn't get that kind of like fumbling action that some of the queens had.
Yeah.
She knew exactly what she was doing. It was just the most flawless, cascading spin of floor length dresses. I was in love. And she looked so much like Josephine Baker with the hair and the waves. So beautiful. Loved it. One of my favorites of the evening.
Yeah. And, especially on Drag Race, reveals are very predictable now. You can tell when something typically is going to reveal into something else, or reveal into a bodysuit, or do something, But Jada's was just next level. And I appreciated that.
Everybody obviously watched Janie Jacquet on UK versus the World get read the house down for one reveal not having to do with the other. Like, I swear Graham Norton just read her from one reveal to the next. Every single queen on this runway put so much thought into the reveal and what they started with. It was just fantastic to watch.
Next was the Vivian. And I just thought this was okay. Not bad, but not great either. Especially compared to everybody else.
Yeah, like I feel like she didn't spend enough time in the first look so that we really got an idea that this was a reveal. And then from the second to the third look, I don't think it was different enough that I really felt like it was a reveal. It was more just you lost a piece of the gown.
Right.
So it just became something different. It really wasn't a reveal.
More like a tearaway.
Right. Exactly. She looked gorgeous though. Like,
yes.
I really liked the concept of it and she looked beautiful, but I wanted more out of it.
Yeah.
Number one, Viv should do face painting lessons on YouTube. Like, I just want the Viv to come over and paint my face or teach me how to paint my face because she paints so beautifully. I sometimes get so caught up in her face that I forget to look at the rest of everything and really like critique it as far as an audience member and how hard I am on the other queens sometimes. But like you said, Zach, I didn't feel like the cloak was a reveal because you saw what was underneath before she even took the cloak off. She didn't stay in it for very long. Everything was beautiful. I loved the fabric. I loved the shimmer. The way that it looked on the runway was fantastic. I'm not 100% sold that it went with the assignment prompt, but it's not my runway to judge. I thought it was beautiful. She looked beautiful. Like, I was here for this whole runway.
What are you talking about? We are 100% here to judge. It's like half of our show is about.
We are experts.
It's true. Expert fans.
Zach does drag every week. He knows exactly what they go through.
It's true. And I did tuck that one time.
I've put on a wig. Anyways, next was Raja, who I thoroughly enjoyed. I thought this was nice. And in true Raja fashion, it's fashionable chaos. I love that she was like, it's obviously resort wear.
That part was fantastic.
So good. I wish it didn't just reveal kind of into a bodysuit and kind of deconstruct, like it did. So it wasn't the best for me, especially once, Jada had already been out there. But I definitely enjoyed it. I thought she did great.
Yeah, I really appreciated the look, but because there was so much going on with it, it was hard to appreciate the individual pieces of it that I really appreciated looking at it further. Like when I watched it again, like the sleeves and like I finally realized, oh, it's a Venus flytrap. Like I didn't really catch all that because there was so much going on when she initially came down. I was like, oh, okay, now I can see it. You really have to stop and like look at it to get the full effect of it.
Yes. I got the Venus flytrap reference right at the end of the runway when we were watching it the first time. And I said, oh, that's right. I did kill a few of those on accident. Please don't think I'm a plant killer on purpose.
To be fair, those are really hard to take care of.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That was not a good first start. Anyway, I loved Raja's hat. I loved her resort wear was fantastic. It felt like a lot though. I love sparkles. It definitely, I felt like it was just a bodysuit at the end. I appreciated all the elements that she brought to the bodysuit. I loved the pink flamingo on her head, if I haven't said that first. The gloves that she was wearing were amazing. This is the Raja that we have come to love and expect and appreciate. I love this look. It wasn't my favorite for this runway, but Raja is amazing. And I'm glad that she brought this to the runway. I needed to see it.
Mm-hmm. Next up was Evie Oddly, who I also thought was okay, nothing special. There were parts of this I really enjoyed and thought were really cool, but I also really didn't think it went far enough, and I felt like parts of it didn't work as well as she thought they would in her head, execution-wise. There's a little bit of fumbling around, I thought. I loved the mask, I loved her makeup, and I loved the idea behind it, but it just didn't really go where I needed it to go, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I saw her come out and I saw her do the first reveal and I was like, oh, I'll become a butterfly or a moth. Like, that's gonna be so cool. And then she just didn't. And I was so disappointed. And then she even was like, well, if you're upset that I didn't become a moth or whatever, then you don't understand how my transformation works. It's like, no, it's not that. It's just that's kind of the prompt. And you really missed an opportunity to really wow us and elevate this look. Because you can tell she put a whole bunch of work into it, like into the math, which was amazing, and the makeup, which was beautiful.
So much work.
It's like, why not complete that journey from cocoon to butterfly/moth? I didn't understand why she wouldn't, because it would have been fantastic and would have been probably my favorite one on the runway had she done that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked this. You could definitely, like you said, you could tell she spent a lot of time on the mask, how it worked, how it moved. I appreciated that part. Her makeup was flawless. I liked the back of the bodysuit more than I liked the front of the bodysuit for some reason. And I felt like it had the same problem as the Vivs, almost like it was more of a tearaway instead of a reveal, especially once the green slimy goo stuff dissection happened. I was like, no, but wait, the cocoon should be like completely covering you, because I've dissected things like this before, because I love cutting things open once they're already dead. Like, I'm down for it. I liked it, but like Zach said, I think if she had turned into a moth or a butterfly, even if it was Evie style, this would have been my favorite of the night. But instead it was just kind of up there with the Viv, like, this is beautiful, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, the whole point of a reveal is like the gag, right? Like the unexpected, and to have something actually better underneath. And that was I feel like that's why the prompt was titled What Lies Beneath, right? It's not really about what you started out in as much as what you end up in. And I just feel like Viv and Evie didn't really do anything different from one thing to another. If anything, it was more lackluster as they went along. And that's disappointing.
Right.
Next up was Jinx. And I didn't think Jinx did bad. Wasn't the best for me. But it wasn't bad. I wish all of her looks were a little more related. I didn't really understand necessarily the flow. I understand it was like an art motif in different styles, I guess. But especially what she ended up in seemed a little detached from everything else, even though she looked great in it. But I don't know, there's just something about it. My favorite piece is where she had her face on the skirt, I think. So then when she took that off, I felt like we kind of went down a couple levels. But
the Andy Warhol number.
Yeah, yeah. But, I didn't think she did bad at all.
Yeah, I really liked this one, especially... I didn't realize that they were all done. All the looks were all done in the method of art that she was portraying. Mm-hmm. So the look was purposely made to look like the second one's made to look like a Monet painting, which I thought was really cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Although I think where it wasn't so magical for me was, Jada's was so flawlessly revealed, and she did that twirly thing. It really looked like magic. Jinx seemed to kind of fumble with it, and you kind of saw her like mess with it to get it to happen. The execution was a little weird, and I think that kind of took me out of it a little bit. But I think overall the concept was really cool and looked great on her.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed this runway. I really enjoyed this walkthrough art. the first piece, I didn't necessarily get Picasso. The second piece, I was like, oh my gosh, Monet. Like as soon as I saw it, like I instantly thought of that painting. And then Andy Warhol, again, instantly recognizable. I don't recognize Verklempt as much. Maybe that's my fault for not being as broad and as deep as it should be in my art history. But I appreciated that Jinx had different lengths of her dresses. I will say that. True. She looked very excited on the runway. She looked super excited. She was not doing a character for once. It was 100% Jinx. She said that she's not comfortable with reveals. You could tell that she fumbled a little bit, but overall, conceptually, it was different silhouettes than we normally get. Like, there was just so much non-Jinx in this runway that I was like, whoa. And it was so beautiful. I love the sequins. I loved the different flowing of the Monet. I feel like she probably should have ended in the Andy Warhol because that was the best for me, my favorite. But it's good to end in the one that you like the best. It's nice to set yourself up for success in that way.
Yeah. Next up was Monet Exchange, who served up reveals with a message, which is actually a popular motif with reveals, and I actually really appreciated it. I wish some of them looked a little more elevated, but I appreciated everything she did here, and it was really, really good.
Yeah, I really liked this runway, and I agree. I think some of them could have been a little more elevated just to make it a little more draggy. Yeah. But I think the main point for her was the message. You definitely get that was the central theme here, and you definitely get the message. And I think that's why she was so successful with it.
Yes, Monet was so confident on the runway in all of these looks. She definitely, these were made for this runway specifically. She knew exactly what she was going to do. She executed everything. I appreciated her confidence and the way that she worked her garments. And again, the fact that she went from a shorter dress to a longer dress at the end. It's the unexpected length. Monet did great this week. And she looked fantastic. Her makeup, as always, is amazing.
Next up was Trinity the Tuck, who went flower picking for her reveal runway, but not much else, I will say. And I was a little disappointed by that because it turns out what lies beneath is just Trinity's body.
Yeah, she came out looking so beautiful, and I was really excited for her to like turn something really crazy out. But I was really disappointed that she basically just got up there and stripped. There really wasn't a reveal except her ass, and we've seen it. It's not that impressive anymore. But she looked gorgeous. Like the garment she walked out in was fabulous. I thought it was beautiful. I just wish she would have done something a little more elevated with the actual reveal part. Maybe not spent some time making Monet's dress for her video and more time on hers.
This was just a piece of art on the runway. This was the most beautiful thing I have seen. The beadwork on this dress was amazing. Trinity looked beautiful. Again, I feel like this is way more tearaways. Beautiful tearaways. Beautiful tearaways. But again, like you said, Zach, we've seen Trinity's ass. It's been the reveal almost every week is to see Trinity's ass. No one's seen Shay's ass. This is the first week I've ever seen Shay's ass.
Right.
So that was unexpected. And Shay has an assless dress. Like everyone was talking about it. And then when Trinity got to hers, it was kind of like, yep, there's Trinity's ass. I knew that was going to be the reveal.
So, getting into these dance challenges. First up was the Shake Down by Shea Coulee, to the tune of RuPaul's Cha Cha Bitch. this was a fairly strong one, but I was pretty bored in the beginning.
Yeah, this one seemed to have the most quintessential formula for a successful viral video, but it wasn't out there enough to make it stand out or different. It was just kind of I could see myself actually watching that on TikTok or something, but it wasn't like crazy. I did enjoy it though. I think of the videos, this is probably the most put together, but I agree. It wasn't exciting enough when it started to really grab me.
I feel as if Shay likes to pick really bland characters sometimes. And sometimes that's where she starts because that's where she's comfortable. Like Noelle in the Santa School for Girls. And then she went semi-serious instead of campy in the Mr. All Girls Group Challenge. And honestly, if she had not explained the joke, I would have not gotten the Alan Ivy's reference when in the confessionals. So as an audience member, again, my breadth and depth of art history is not enough for this show sometimes, most of the time, half the time. So like just like my homeschool's missing some pop culture references, there's some blanks in there. I really liked it. I thought it looked way more like a viral TikTok video than Jinx's, obviously, but Jinx took hers in a completely different direction.
Yeah. Jada did the Divas Essential Challenge. Interesting title choice.
I love this.
To Sissy That Walk. But this is what I needed from Shay.
It's like that silliness.
Yes.
And just embracing the stupidity of it. Like you're in drag, you're on Drag Race, you're doing a TikTok dance. None of this makes sense.
Yeah, although this wasn't my favorite video, you could tell she was just having fun with it. Probably could have used a little more structure. But because she was having so much fun, I had fun watching it.
You can tell that Jada had so much fun. I loved this for so many different reasons. Number one, this whole video is my life right now, just like we were talking about last week during our brief pause. I need to walk it out right now because there are paps watching me all the time, so I might as well give them a show and create a distraction. So I just feel like this is literally like what's happening in my life right now. And then also just happens to be the song that I listen to on almost a daily basis because it's one of my pump up songs. I love this whole thing. Jada was one of my favorites this week. My favorites. I love this whole thing.
Next up, you can catch her on Vivio, the Vivian, who did Can't Dance, Who Cares, to Born Naked. And this wasn't my favorite, but I really loved how stupid she went with it.
On the Vivio.
Catch me on the Vivio. Yeah, I think she really ran with the whole branding part of this challenge and less with the viral video part of the challenge. And in that, she really succeeded, but it also wasn't quite as entertaining to watch. It felt more like a different kind of challenge watching hers. It was still good.
I thought Viv was funny. It made me laugh for sure. Definitely felt like it was a little too much branded and not enough dance challenge for the prompt. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching it this whole episode this week, this whole season. It's fantastic.
Next up was Raja, who did the Raja to Glamazon.
Did we expect anything else?
No. And there are things I appreciate. I want to say Glamazon is actually the song she did in her finale. Right? So it's kind of
I think it is.
Nice thing, and it may be why she chose it. But I will say the Raja is pretty bland.
Yeah, this needed some spice.
It did. And it was very like someone's mom doing it, and it has like 5 views or something.
It reminded me of her Draguation character. Very just
a little bit, yeah.
Calm and subdued and not a lot going on.
Yeah.
And almost like I was trying to go to sleep a little bit. And I appreciate that Raja's having fun with everything. I like that she's enjoying the game. She's definitely having fun. She's enjoying all of her self-references. Do it. I'm enjoying Raja this season. This wasn't my favorite dance of all of the dance video challenges for sure.
And it was like you could tell that she didn't know if it was working or not. Like she's like, "Am I doing it? Am I doing a tic tac?" Next up was Evie Oddly, and she did the odd bod to "Lick It Lollipop" by RuPaul featuring Lady Bunny.
I feel like she had as much fun doing hers as Jada had making her video. It's just because it was Evie, it was so freaking weird.
Yeah.
And it left the audience going, what the hell?
I could see it going viral, but not for the reason she intended.
Right, exactly.
Fair. I feel like Evie Oddly's point is to always go viral for not the reason that she intended, though. And I feel like she definitely had fun. This is weird. It was funny. But just like Jinx, she's always going for a different sort of audience reaction than what one would typically expect.
Yeah.
And she definitely kept her brand because her brand is weird.
Was that a read?
No, it really wasn't. I really do appreciate Evie for everything she is, but I think in making it such a weird video, she branded herself very well.
Next up, Mama's Doing a Thing, Jinx Monsoon. She did the Monsoon Munchie to RuPaul's Peanut Butter.
This was fantastic. And I love that like she didn't try to make it something that isn't true to her or her brand. Like she made it a Jinx Monsoon video. And I think that's why it was so successful and so hilarious. This was my favorite one, hands down.
I love this video. I love the fact that Jinx has been playing a middle-aged woman since she was 20-something, maybe even earlier than that. I appreciate that she just is so comfortable in this unexpected, internationally tolerated drag superstar kind of lane. I cackled so hard during this video.
Next up was Monet Exchange with the Monet. To the tune of Freaky Money by RuPaul. And I will say, this was very strong. However, my issue with it is that it was assembled by different people. Her outfit, in fact, was assembled by Trinity. First of all, so visually, it's created by somebody else. And then her moves are exactly what RuPaul gave her during the walkthrough. Like, exactly. She threw in maybe one more. Otherwise, it's exactly what RuPaul gave her to do.
Yeah, this one was catchy, but I was really disappointed. And I think now I know why. Because we were discussing how much we don't like when someone does something half-assed, and this felt half-assed. This didn't feel like Monet put her whole ass into this. This was definitely a half or quarter-assed effort because none of it seemed genuinely hers.
Okay. So I thought Monet did very well. As was already said, there really were no original ideas besides the ones that anyone else had given her, including the dress. And I feel like this challenge especially is what we've been getting from Monet all season long. And I know I've been super hard on Monet this whole season. But I feel like she's been half-assed. I feel like all of her runways were... I know, weird, right? I feel like all of her runways were from something else, and she just looked through her closet and was like, oh, this is going to work. Oh, this is going to work. They're just going to give this to me. I deserve it for some reason, instead of like working, winning the challenges. Like she feels like someone's just going to hand her a star. Rue, here I am. I complimented your shoulder pads. Here, can I have one? She's not putting in 100%. And as an audience member, I got better things to watch if you're not going to give me 100%. But it was good, and it was on brand for Monet.
But you liked it.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Sure. I'll have more to say when we get to the lip sync. Thanks. Mm-hmm. gotta shred it.
Last but not least was Trinity the Tuck with the Tuck It Up Dance Challenge to RuPaul's Realness, which this was probably one of my favorites of the night, and I'm really surprised that she didn't place higher. I loved her jokes about branding. I thought were great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed hers. I feel like if I had to like mesh two different feels, it'd be like if I mix Vivian's and Jada's, like because Jada had so much fun with hers and Vivian really focused on the branding. I'd get Trinity's because she clearly had fun with it and worked really hard on branding herself, but you could just tell she really enjoyed making her video, and I think that's why it was really successful. I really enjoyed her video.
Trinity was so funny, and so funny from the beginning in the way that Shay wasn't, that we were talking about earlier. I thought this was funny. It was on brand. She picked the perfect song for what she was going to do. She had her first idea. She was confident in it. She ran with it. She knows exactly who she is. She can break herself down into 3 things all the time. I do a hair flip, my ass is out, and I do a tuck. Or, you know what I mean? she knows herself, and that makes her such a confident queen. And I think that in the first season I saw Trinity, I think I misread that confidence as bitchiness. And those are 2 totally different things. Because she never tears anybody down. Ever.
Never.
She never tears anyone down at the expense of herself.
So, decisions have been made. And I would say very interesting ones, because we find out the people who place high are in fact Jinx, Evie, Monet, and Shay. And personally, I would swap out Shay for Trinity, and I would dare say I would swap Monet for Jada.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I was so surprised Jada wasn't in the top. I was so surprised. I liked Jinx.
Yeah.
I didn't agree with Evie's. Monet did well, but I didn't think that it was top 4 material.
Top 2 are Jinx and Monet. The next piece is really wild, and I couldn't believe it was happening. But instead of a song that they're lip syncing a monologue. And it's a very particularly popular monologue from Designing Women, delivered by
Spoken
Dixie
word.
Carter. Yeah. And I really enjoyed it, actually. It's one of my favorite pieces from that show. I do love that show quite a bit. Watched it a lot. Monet wins the lip sync, is what it is, right? She gets $10,000 and the power to block. And she is stalking everybody real good before choosing somebody. Jada's terrified. Jada, she was already blocked this episode. She's still in the lead. She doesn't want to be blocked again. She's done everything possible. She's been everybody's friend. She's been dancing with everybody in the workroom. She's given everybody tahini shots. She's handed out xylophones. She's done all kinds of stuff to make sure that she plays a good game. And now the jig is up. And so she is terrified because she's the one with the target. But instead, Monet decides to block Raja, I guess because Raja hasn't been blocked yet. And Raja, I feel like Raja was kind of asking people, which is a weird strategy. I don't know about this.
I think, like you said when we were watching it, this was a very socially safe block.
Monet, for some reason, is still playing Miss Congeniality. And if she had been smart, she would have blocked her twinner.
I did, but you know what? Trinity's making her outfits, and she's winning challenges with them. So that alliance she needs to preserve. And I think she's hoping that one way or the other, it ensures they both make it to the finale. Okie doke. Time for top tweets. All right, let's get into the scoreboard. So, Monet gets $10,000, which means officially, Evie Oddly is the only one broke on this cast.
Oddly enough.
Ah.
That's super funny.
Yeah, she's the only one without any money. Poor Evie. Because of how things went down this episode, people getting different points, performing at different levels and such. Stats have changed a little bit. So, Jinx and Monet each got a star this week, which means Jinx now also has 3 stars. And she has 4 challenge wins, which pushes her ahead to first, right ahead of Jada. Jada's in second place with 2 challenge wins, but 3 stars. One of them was gifted to her, actually, by Jinx. So she's in second place. Trinity, 3 challenge wins, 2 stars. She's in third place. Vivian tied with her, 3 challenge wins, 2 stars. Raja now bumped to 4th with Monet. They are tied performance-wise with 2 challenge wins each, 2 stars. Interesting. Evie Oddly now in 5th. She's got 1 challenge win, 2 stars. One of them gifted to her by Raja. And this makes me sad, but Shay is a dead last. She is the only one left with 1 star. And she has 1 challenge win.
Don't say this. This isn't what I want to hear.
I know. I'm really surprised by this, but it is what it is.
How can someone who literally never fulfills the prompt be doing better than Shea Coulee right now?
You're talking about Jinx?
I'm talking about Evie Oddly. I just don't understand. Like, I just don't understand. Oh my god.
Me, are you talking about Monet?
Yeah, her too. Like, I don't understand how Monet and Evie and Raja even are above Shay. I don't know.
Well, what sucks is bonus stars aside, unless she wins the next 2 challenges, she ain't gonna make it to the top.
I know.
So
I know.
Just have fun the next couple weeks, girl. Like,
just enjoy the ride.
Yeah, just enjoy the ride, the free booze, and
get some good sleep in your hotel.
Make some memories. Take some pictures.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe Shay's been a little bit too much in her head. But I don't know.
And there you have it. If you'd like to check out any of our past or ongoing coverage of All-Star 7, you can find that right here on the PG Media channel. Subscribe today so you don't miss out. And you can find social media information in the description below if you want to give us a follow. We don't really post there, but you can follow anyway. With that being said, as always,
thank you for watching highlights.
And we'll see you next time.